The wood creaks softly as the wind rolls in from the desert. A rusted bell rings in the distance, echoing down a street where time seems to have stopped. On the corner, a diner still serves coffee in porcelain mugs older than most of its visitors. Here, nothing tries to be modern. Everything just quietly remembers. Across Southern California, there are 9 small towns where history isn't tucked away in museums it's lived every day. These aren't postcard-perfect tourist traps. They're real places, shaped by gold rush dreams, Wild West legends, immigrant roots, silent movie sets, and decades of change that somehow didn't erase their soul. What makes these towns unforgettable isn't just what happened there. It's what still does. In a state obsessed with the future, these places stand stubbornly still. And in that stillness, you hear stories. Carved into brick walls, whispered through train whistles, told by locals who measure life in memories, not milestones. In this video, we'll visit 11 of the most historic small towns in Southern California, each one a window into a different version of the past. And whether you've heard of them or not, by the end, you might find yourself wondering, what would it feel like to call one of these places home? Just off the coast of Southern California, Avalon feels like the kind of place that belongs in a postcard from the 1920s but never stopped being real. Located on Catalina Island, this coastal town has been drawing visitors for over a century, ever since William Wrigley Jr. invested in its development back in the year 1919. With its Art Deco casino, pastel-colored homes, and hillside views that look out onto the Pacific, Avalon became a glamorous escape during Hollywood's golden era, attracting stars and socialites looking for calm just hours from the mainland. But behind the postcard-perfect image lies a deeper rhythm that hasn't changed much in decades. Locals still ride bikes through the narrow streets. Small fishing boats bob in the harbor, and the same corner shops sell saltwater taffy like they did generations ago. It's the kind of town where time bends, not breaks. And when the last ferry leaves at sunset, and the lights begin to flicker on across the bay, you start to realize Avalon didn't just preserve its past, it's still living in it. Nestled at the foot of the San Gabriel Mountains, Monrovia feels like a town that made a promise to its past and kept it. Founded in the year 1887, it became one of the earliest incorporated communities in Southern California. But unlike many places that traded history for high-rises, Monrovia held on. Its Old Town district still pulses with life. Antique shops, Art Deco theaters, and century-old storefronts line Myrtle Avenue as if the 20th century never really left. What makes Monrovia feel so alive is the way it blends memory with movement. Friday night street fairs, parades, and community events bring together generations who've walked these same sidewalks for decades. Locals don't just know the buildings, they know the stories behind them. It's a place where the past isn't hidden or rebranded, it's embraced. In a region obsessed with the next big thing, Monrovia quietly reminds us that sometimes the best future is the one built with care, one brick at a time. It started as a movie set but somehow became a real town with real stories. Built in the year 1946 by a group of Hollywood investors, including Roy Rogers and Gene Autry, Pioneer Town was designed to be a live-in Western film set. The idea was simple: shoot movies by day, sleep in the saloon by night. For a while, it worked. Over 50 películas and countless TV shows were filmed here, turning the dusty stretch of land near Joshua Tree into a cinematic frontier. But when the camera stopped rolling, Pioneer Town didn't pack up and disappear. Instead, it slowly transformed into a quiet, eccentric desert community. The dirt roads are still there. The false front buildings still stand. And at the center of it all is Pappy Harriet's, a legendary roadhouse that now hosts live music under the stars. Pioneer Town didn't survive by reinventing itself. It survived by staying strange, stubborn, and rooted in its own myth. And in doing so, it became something better than fiction. Real. Tucked between the mountains and the ocean, Carpenteria isn't flashy, and that's exactly why it feels timeless. Long before it became a sleepy beach town, this land was home to the Chumash people, who used the area's natural tar pits to seal their canoes. Later, Spanish settlers gave it its name Carpenteria, meaning carpenter's shop in honor of the boat building that once defined the coast. By the early 1800s, it had become a stop on the Southern Pacific Railroad. But even then, it kept its gentle pace. Walk its streets today, and you'll still find that sense of quiet continuity. The air smells of salt and citrus. Family-owned diners serve breakfast like they have for decades. And just beyond the tracks, the beach stretches out unspoiled, a sanctuary where change arrives slowly, if at all. Locals don't speak of trends. They speak of tides, of fishing seasons, of what the bluffs looked like in their childhood. In Carpenteria, history isn't something to visit, it's something you live, day by day, wave by wave. Solvang looks like a postcard from Copenhagen, but it was born in the California sun back in 1911. Founded by Danish immigrants seeking to preserve their culture, the town is a rare blend of authenticity and charm. Strolling through its streets, you'll pass a replica of Copenhagen's Rundetårn, a statue of the Little Mermaid, and bakeries serving fresh ableskiver and kringle. The Elverhøy Museum tells the story of those early settlers who built more than just buildings, they built belonging. Every December, Julefest lights up the town with parades, glug, and carols that echo Denmark's oldest traditions. But even outside the holidays, Solvang doesn't perform its past, it lives it. In a fast-changing world, this little town quietly holds on to what matters: roots, rhythm, and a deep sense of place. Nestled in the Cuyamaca Mountains of San Diego County, Julian is a town that whispers tales of California's gold rush era. Established in the late 19th century, Julian became a bustling mining town after the discovery of gold in 1869. Today, its well-preserved Victorian architecture and historic landmarks transport visitors back in time. The town is also renowned for its apple orchards, with the annual Apple Days Festival celebrating the harvest season. Visitors can enjoy homemade apple pies, explore antique shops, and take scenic hikes in the surrounding countryside. Julian's blend of history and natural beauty makes it a charming destination for those seeking a glimpse into California's past. High in the San Jacinto Mountains, Idlewild feels less like a town and more like a retreat whispered into existence. Surrounded by towering pines and granite cliffs, it has long attracted artists, musicians, and writers looking for stillness. Back in the mid-20th century, it became a hub for creativity, with the Idlewild Arts Academy nurturing generations of talent. But even before that, the Cahuilla people called these mountains home, grounding the land in centuries of cultural memory. Today, Idlewild remains untouched by chain stores or big developments, just trails, cabins, and stories. Jazz festivals echo through the woods each summer, and local galleries still thrive in wooden cottages. It's a place where the noise of the world fades, and the quiet feels intentional. In Idlewild, time doesn't stand still, it slows down, long enough for you to notice what truly matters. Into the Santa Ynez Valley, Los Olivos is more than a wine lover's paradise, it's a storybook town with deep agricultural roots. What began in the late 19th century as a modest stagecoach stop grew into a vibrant community shaped by ranchers, farmers, and orchard keepers. Its name, meaning the olives, hints at the groves that once covered the hills before vineyards took over. Today, Los Olivos balances its rustic charm with quiet sophistication. Victorian-era homes now host tasting rooms, and the old railroad depot still stands as a silent witness to the town's past. It's the kind of place where history is poured slowly, glass by glass, story by story. And while visitors come for the wine, they often leave remembering something else entirely. A sense of peace that doesn't need to be explained, only felt. Perched in the San Gabriel Mountains, Wrightwood began as a ranching community in the early 1900s, but quickly became a beloved alpine escape. With snowy winters, crisp pine air, and wooden cabins tucked into hillsides, it's long been a favorite for families seeking a break from Southern California's heat and speed. By the mid-20th century, the Mountain High Ski Resort had turned this quiet village into a seasonal magnet, but the town never lost its core. Wrightwood still feels intimate, unpolished in the best way. Locals gather at the town's cafe after morning hikes, and kids ride bikes down streets with no sidewalks. The Pacific Crest Trail passes right through, linking it to stories of endurance and solitude. In a world chasing bigger and louder, Wrightwood has stayed small and sincere, and that's exactly what makes it unforgettable. Tucked between the Topa Mountains and orange groves, Ojai feels like a place that was never meant to be found by accident. With its Spanish-style architecture, pink sunsets, and deeply spiritual roots, it has long been a refuge for artists, thinkers, and seekers. In the early 1900s, the town was reimagined with a mission-style aesthetic after a fire, giving it the unique look it still carries today. But its true identity was shaped by those who came searching not for fortune, but for peace. Ojai doesn't shout for attention, it invites you in quietly. The smell of citrus blossoms floats through the air, bookstores outnumber chain stores, and the town's famous pink moment at sunset makes everything pause. Whether you're walking through the arcade or attending a small outdoor concert, Ojai feels intentional. It's not about nostalgia, it's about presence. In Ojai, the past and present aren't separate, they're in constant conversation. A tapestry of cultures and time. Located in Orange County, San Juan Capistrano is a town rich in cultural heritage and historical significance. Founded in 1776, it is home to the Mission San Juan Capistrano, known as the Jewel of the Missions. This mission is famed for its beautiful gardens, adobe architecture, and the annual return of the swallows. The town's historic district features preserved buildings from the 18th and 19th centuries, offering a window into early Californian life. Visitors can stroll through the Los Rios Historic District, the oldest residential neighborhood in California, and experience a blend of Native American, Spanish, and Mexican influences that have shaped the town's unique character. In a state known for speed, sprawl, and constant reinvention, these 11 towns remind us that some things are worth holding on to. They don't compete for attention. They don't try to be louder, faster, or newer. They simply exist quietly, proudly carrying the weight of their own stories with grace. Whether it's the windmills of Solvang, the pine-scented stillness of Idlewild, or the island glow of Avalon at dusk, each place holds a version of California that refuses to vanish. And maybe that's what draws us to them, not just nostalgia, but the sense that in a world rushing forward, these towns chose to stay grounded. Now, we want to hear from you. Which of these places would you visit first? Do you know another town that deserves a spot on this list? Let us know in the comments. And if this journey meant something to you, give the video a like and leave a comment to help the YouTube algorithm show it to more people who love stories like these. Because sometimes, the quietest towns have the loudest stories to tell.